You're listening to a hockey podcast where we talk about ice hockey and stuff. Yeah.
With Chanel, Molly, and Jesse.
Welcome back, hockey friends. In this week's episode, we are going to be talking about the All-Star Weekend and how completely terrible it is. And
Yay!
so we don't bore you to death, though, we will be shaking things up a bit by creating our own All-Star teams. Or should we say non-star teams? That's right. We will be grouping up the worst of the worst. You don't want to miss this. But to start the podcast off, let's talk about trades, or one big trade that we've all been waiting for. Drum roll! For Horvat trade. Woo!
Horvat's gone. He's gone.
Bye-bye. Finally, though, huh? All the chat. It was the talk of the town.
We had a good chuckle considering the timing of this trade, right? Our last podcast that we recorded, having that big discussion about the Vancouver Canucks and all their problems, and the whole speculation about Bo Horvat getting traded. And by the time we posted the episode, he was already traded.
Yeah.
Hey, can we just say when we recorded the episode, he hadn't been traded? It's
Of
just
course.
No, exactly.
editing time takes a while. It happens all the time with us. Trade deadline, we're like, oh, nothing's gonna happen in the last couple of hours. Everything happens.
Oh yeah.
Oopsies. It's okay. We're talking about it now, and it's still fresh off the grill because Jesse and I, when we were watching the All-Star Weekend, we kind of giggled because we saw Bo Horvat in a freaking Islanders jersey, and we were like, "Wait, it was bizarre."
That was
Who's
a
that
weird one,
bitch?
right?
Is that what the hell? Who is that? That's a new play. Oh, it's Bo Horvat. Gotcha.
It's like basically hasn't played with the new team yet, and he's just there with a different jersey, but he's still technically playing in the same division, right? Because they couldn't change up the numbers of each team. So it just made for a really weird situation.
Man, but that's a good trade for it. It's really nice for the Islanders to have Bo Horvat. He's basically getting a point per game there, maybe a little bit more. So that's nice to have him. No, sorry,
he's having a
for
career
the
year
Canucks.
also. This will inevitably make the Islanders better.
Yes,
But I was a little bit surprised when I saw them do this trade because, they're struggling in the standings, the Islanders, right now, and clearly they don't want to give up on the playoffs. They still want to make it in, so they're going to fight for that wild card spot. And I guess this is a good way to do it, but it definitely seems like it's a little risky, right?
Editor Molly here. So it happened again. Some trade news came in just as we were finishing up the podcast. So Editor Molly is here to tell you about the Bo Horvat deal. So it's an 8x8 deal, which is in 8 years, averaging at $8.5 million US dollars. Total, that is a deal that's worth $68 million US dollars. So that's extending his play with the Islanders up until the 2030 to the 31 season. In comparison, let's just look at last year's deal with JT Miller for the Canucks. 7-year extension, again at $8.5 million. Who won that deal? Let us know in the comments below.
Molly, what about the Canucks? What do you think about them now? That's all. That's all she has to say, folks. ...
No, we had questions, concerns, thoughts, feelings last week, evidently, about what the nuck is going on, and I'm still got that question mark in my head of what are they doing? Because what are they doing? Are they going for a rebuild now? I think
we already expected this to happen one way or another, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like it was inevitable, so I don't know if this still fully answers our question or not, right?
No. Technically nothing has changed except what we already predicted. The thing is, okay, so we're losing the captain of the Canucks. So who's next? I think they were discussing. I died actually. Yeah. I was like, this is the man you want to be your. I'm sorry, but I'm crying a little bit because every time I hear Quinn Hughes, I'm like, oh gee, I don't know. I don't think I could do it.
His face is in all the pictures, yeah.
Oh man.
My vibe is that it's probably going to Pedersen.
It's Pedersen.
Yeah, it's probably Pedersen or Hughes because
Hughes.
Quinn Hughes,
Hughes.
because they are the ones who are probably the guys you build around. But yeah, I do believe that Pedersen is the more likely choice.
Oh yeah.
Isn't Pedersen the more senior in the team as well?
Yep, exactly.
So
Wow.
that would make more sense.
Oh
The
yeah,
most
for sure.
senior? Wow, that's crazy to me because he's
She means out of the
big.
two there, but
I mean, I
Um,
feel the most senior right now.
She's all up in a wrist brace right now, guys. Come on now.
I'm in bed.
She's pooped. She's tired. Listen, first of all, let's give a good a round of applause for Molly for staying up late for the podcasts because we're in different time zones. So
Yeah. We have excuses, the Canucks do not.
no, they do not. I will say. See, here's another reason why there's no excuses. Pedersen, what did he win? Did he win Slapshot, Jess?
oh yeah, true. Yeah, the All-Star the skills comp.
Damn, he's got a
Hardest slapshot.
slapper.
But
Yeah,
was everyone else
exactly.
even trying though?
It looked like it, yeah. Ovechkin
Oh.
finally took the L on that one, so. And Connor McDavid finally decided to not do the fastest skater because he's like, well, let's give other people a shot. Yeah.
Well, McKinnon wasn't even in it, was he?
No,
It
Makar
was a
was.
strange
Makar
collection
was. Rantanen
of
wasn't.
players.
I'm
Sorry, Jess?
so pissed with them.
I
Sorry.
just said it was a strange collection of players.
Yeah, it was. Molly, why are you pissed with them? What?
So pissed with All-Star Weekend. We need to get onto this topic so I can
So
show
yeah,
how
then
pissy
maybe
I
we
am.
just dive into this right now because we did want to talk about the skills competition and the All-Star games and a bit of our criticisms, maybe what we'd like to see. And I think diving into what you two just mentioned about who was or wasn't in certain competitions. I feel like with the skills competition, it's awkward because technically the All-Star game, the players are selected either by a committee or voted on by fans in terms of who's the All-Stars, right? Like supposedly the stars from every team this year in the league, but that doesn't always give you the best rosters for specific skill competitions, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
You might not always
So-
have the fastest skater or the hardest shot or the best accuracy shooter
Okay.
in your pool.
Okay, so hear me out, okay? What if we just literally we voted for
Technical difficulties here, unfortunately. What Chanel was trying to say is we have a specific vote for the skills where we vote in people for the skills as a separate vote to the All-Star game itself. Back to the pod.
and they have been known for those skills and they're separate from the game that we want to see with all the all-stars or something like kind of expands the roster if you know what I mean.
I kind of agree. I wish, considering too that they've done it before where they sometimes bring in other players just for fun, like show off events, showcases, or just for like, other little gags. Like what was it last year? Trevor Zegras was brought in just to do a shootout.
Blindfolded, wasn't he?
Oh
Yeah,
my
exactly.
God,
And he
I
wasn't
love him.
technically part of the All-Star game, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
they're not opposed to bringing in players just for other things. So why not? Like if you have one guy who's a really fast skater, he's known for having a really hard shot, but he's not in your All-Star competition, you can still bring
Dude.
him in just for the skills comp.
Ilya Mikheyev, okay? I'm not just saying this because I'm a Leafs fan and he was on our team. I mean it. That motherfucker's fast.
They should maybe even bring in the previous year's winner every time. Maybe to like hold up their title, see if they keep it or if they lose it, right?
Cute
That's a
idea.
good idea, and this is the NHL we're talking about.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
I did have an idea
Mhm.
where to like select who qualifies for all of these skills comps.
Mhm.
The NHL lately has been going really heavy on data tracking, right? Where now they even have certain like broadcasts or other functionalities that allow you to see live information that tracks players' speeds, the speed of the shots, and all that kind of stuff. You see a lot of statistical information now that they're trying to track throughout.
Use the stats to pick your players.
Exactly. You could theoretically go throughout the year and see, okay, who has the fastest on average speed, or maybe who's reached the top speeds during games, and who's had the hardest shot during games, or who has the average hardest shot, stuff like that. Like whatever stats you feel best represent
that sort of criteria, and like they could have a committee select the players per competition using that information, so that every year you have like a really accurate representation of who is the fastest skater, or who's the 5 fastest skaters, who's the 5 hardest shots, so on and so forth. And
Yeah,
then it could be like a real competition.
I don't
absolutely.
like that.
Oh no?
She doesn't like that. She doesn't like that.
Or I mean, in the concept sounds really cool and everything, but there's this whole argument going on. I'm just gonna be devil's advocate here. Hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's this whole argument going on across sports as how much is technology actually ruining the game now. So it's great that we have all these stats and being able to like measure the fastest player who hits a puck the hardest and everything, but it also loses the magic of it actually just being a game, because it's all just like numbers and measurements and this person can piss the furthest kind of thing. I don't know. I prefer it when it's just kind of like it's voted, people believe it, and then it's an actual skill competition and people have fun and try their best, instead of being like, well, I know I'm the best, so why do I even bother? Because
So
the
you'd
numbers
prefer to
say.
see people go in with a sort of just like who, by the eyeball test, who we think is the fastest this year, we just vote them in?
Yeah. It has
Um,
this more like human presence to it, I feel.
Well, now
Okay.
that you mentioned that, should we then, instead of having a committee choose, should it just all be voted by fans, since it's a show for us, technically?
Yes.
Yeah, with the fan votes, I've always had a little bit of. I find it's always tough because I feel like we'll never get what we really want. Because on one hand, you want to have.
Cadre.
Hello, Jesse. Remember that one? Like you told me about that time where fans had a say and they picked the most ridiculous players.
Yeah, John
to
Scott,
be.
exactly.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
It's a
That's
classic
so
story.
funny.
And that's what I'm trying to say is like it's either. How would I say this? In theory, the All-Star team is supposed to be the best players in the league that year. The guys having the best seasons.
Yeah.
And you could technically, like, let's say you sit down and you really try to figure out whether you want to use statistics or, like you said, a bit of the eyeball test, just seeing how well they play. We could discuss it all, like, in a little bit of a committee style and come together and agree, okay, these are the best players right now. Here's our teams. And, like, that could theoretically yield the best all-star team, the best players this year. And if you leave it to a fan vote, which I do like the idea of a fan vote, though, then at that point, maybe it's less of an all-star team and more of a fan team. Like, we would probably
Okay.
have a mix of players who are considered the best, like McDavid or Matthews and stuff like that. But then we'd obviously also have some sort of oddballs thrown in, either for the memes or just because of popularity or whatever fan
Okay.
campaign is going on.
Hear me out then. Halfway. So the committee chooses a certain amount of people per division, like a top 10 maybe, and then there's a fan vote within those 10.
Have it one way or the other. Either we try crafting the best team possible, like the true like best players this year, or we just let the fans go balls wild and just have fun with it, make up your own crazy team.
I think that would be better because
do too.
hasn't it like the NHS, holy hell.
Oh my
NHL.
goodness.
Another thing going down the drain. The NHL. God, I'm dying. The NHL viewership's gone down what, like 20% already this
Mhm.
season?
Give the
And
people what they fucking want.
yeah, so surely you want to have an all-star weekend, which is just a fun week off for hockey. Actually make it fun for the fans and not make it what the fuck we just saw.
Oh my god, Molly. I can't.
Here's the devil's advocate though now for that idea though with the fan vote, right? If we really want to just go crazy and vote for any players we want and really have a weird cast of of players for our all-star teams,
Mhm.
I think that would be really fun, especially for the more online sort of hockey fans, right? The Twitter fans, the people who will really be involved online voting and everything will probably get a good fun time watching
Me.
our weird selection of players. But I think
Yeah.
a lot of general hockey fans who mostly just watch the games on TV and some
You might be
people
pissed.
even tune in from time to time, right? They'll go like, I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy. Who's that guy? And then they'll be like, where's McDavid? Where's Matthews? Where's
Well, that's why I think the half-half idea is not the worst if they were able to tweak it in certain ways. Kind of work off of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I feel like we give the NHL a lot of shit with this because I do think they're doing a poor
We
job a
do.
lot of the time.
Damned if you
but
do, damned if you don't.
But they're getting worse every year. Every year it's just more shit.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Jesse, I don't want to cut you off, but I have to because I gotta say, like, these players are also making it boring for us because one, they've been to the All-Stars game over and over and over again, and they don't even give a shit. I couldn't believe what I saw when against the goalies when no one was trying to actually shoot and score. Like, it's pathetic. What are we, Tim? It's except for freaking oh my gosh, was it Sarah Nurse? Sarah Nurse did
Yeah.
something because that's my girl right there. She was like, "Fuck this noise." I'm sorry, I'm swearing so much, but I'm passionate.
So angry.
I'm angry. Angry Chanel is here. My
the
alter
guys definitely
ego.
don't look enthused. That's for sure.
Dude, they're acting like the goaltenders are the children of the players. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot on you. Oh, you stopped it. Oh, good job." Like, it's so annoying. I can't
I mean, nobody wants to overdo it, right?
overdo it.
They've had a whole week off.
Just fucking overdo it. It's the All-Star. I want to see magic. I'm sorry. Oh, injuries. Yeah, I know. I get it. Be careful. That's all I gotta
That's
say. Wrap
part
yourself in
of the
bubble wrap.
problem
Got
with the All-Star game.
injuries, then have less fucking games in the regular season. Like,
See, it brings up such a massive conversation, right? Like, even Jesse was about to say, like, okay, the injuries, that's also
sorry,
a
I'm getting
problem.
mad.
Molly and I are just like, shut up, Jesse. We're talking a lot.
And Jesse's like, what did I get myself into?
He's like, this
Sorry,
is
Jesse.
unusual.
I feel like I'm trying to say, well, this could logistically be an issue, and you're like, no, I hate it.
Yeah,
People are
I'm
getting
sorry.
rankled. Not just fans, but players. So, you know,
I
they
think
have
God.
Rankle Nation.
that whole idea of not going too hard and the fear of injuries and whatnot, I think does factor into why the All-Star game is not that appealing. Because if theoretically, when you're putting some of the best players on ice together, you'd expect some pretty intense, really high octane hockey, but you realize that they're not always going as hard as they could because, like
All
you said,
right.
nobody wants to get hurt.
Then let's do the other stars that are intrigued and are interested in the All-Stars. And sure, oh, you're not going to have Connor McDavid, but what does he do except do nothing? Because he doesn't want to get injured. You know what I mean? What's the point at this point?
I don't like the format of the All Stars. I know they changed it up in like the first couple years when they changed up the format to be like the 3-on-3 thing. I thought, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's cool. But now I'm like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
It's
No
like
one's
they're doing
interested.
training camp hockey, and it's just like,
Oh my gosh.
oh look, he's got the puck. Oh, he tried to score. Oh, it
No,
didn't go
no.
in. Oh no, he's got the puck. Oh my god, he tried to score. It didn't go in.
Wait,
the one
why
thing that I'd
even
be
wear
okay with-
jerseys?
I'm so mad.
No, Jesse, why
Didn't
even
think
wear
of it.
jerseys? They should wear that freaking mesh shirt there, the red and blue, all right? Team blue, team
Practice
red.
jerseys.
God
Oh
damn
yeah,
it.
don't hit me because I'm precious.
I'm Connor McDavid, so.
I'm so mad.
I'm sorry, Jesse. Go right ahead. Go ahead.
I'll be quiet now. Okay.
I was
Fuck 'em
wondering
both.
if do we solve this issue by putting the All-Star game out of
In the
season?
garbage.
Well, I mean, I guess that's another option.
I was gonna say, give these players back their goddamn weekend. Let them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So do we do it at a different time in the year that doesn't conflict? So either before the
Preseason.
season starts or after
Preseason.
the end of the season?
Oh,
Preseason or Christmas.
It could be. It could kind of act like a training camp. Not really.
I
but-
think
That
that'd
could
be fun.
something. And I guess it would probably
Yeah.
make the games feel a little bit more intense because you're not just playing against yourself.
You're
You're
kind
really
of like
playing against.
Yeah, and you're
Hmm.
kind of working up your training,
Yeah.
which they could want to practice their skills anyways. But then it leads, like, is it unfair for the other people who don't get that kind of practice though?
Well, it's just one game, really.
Yeah,
not
it's
like
true.
a-
It's just one game. Let's
It's-
say
it's an
no to
idea.
Christmas though, because again, these players, these hockey players, dedicate their lives to this career. Give
Yeah,
them
I don't want
their
to watch
god-
the All-Star game
at
during
Christmas.
Christmas.
Oh, true actually.
No, give
What-
them.
Oh,
Give
they
them
should
back their time.
definitely not have it though at the same time when the
That's what I'm
freaking
saying.
Super Bowl's gonna happen. Like, People aren't going to
God,
be
no.
interested in 2
True.
weekends of big drama of like, oh yeah, All Stars, but then Super Bowl. Like, no,
I
make
mean, the
it
Super
an
Bowl will always beat
event.
them.
Oh my god, and
Yeah,
I'm just waiting.
exactly.
I'm waiting for them to hire Nickelback as a freaking singer
I mean,
band.
they had Fall Out Boy this year, didn't they?
Yeah.
They sure did.
Oh, yeah, and they just announced we're getting Bieber next year, right? Because we're going
Because
to
we're going to
Toronto.
Toronto.
Oh my god.
Woo!
All-Star Game
Maverick
Oh.
2024 in Toronto.
You know what?
Do you want to go? Do you want to go
I'm
and get mad?
Yes, I want to go and get mad because the difference is we're gonna get a lot of Toronto content, so that makes me a happy girl. But I still will hate it. It's still the All-Star weekend. Boring, yawn.
At least the crowd will probably be more full.
Oh
like, the
yeah, it's gonna
seats
be
will be
fun
filled.
to be there in person, I would say.
Did
Yeah.
you see pictures of the crowds in Florida?
No?
Like in the
Pitiful.
arena? So
No.
sparse.
Oh god.
So bad.
Like my eyebrows.
Yeah. Capacity was
no.
rough.
I have some sort of disease we don't know yet, but I'm losing my eyebrows, so.
Oh,
Just kidding.
I think it's because of the NHL. I think it's the
It's
stress caused by the All Stars game.
Most people lose the top of their heads. Me, it's my eyebrows. They're gonna be gone by the end of the season, bitch.
You're gonna look constantly surprised.
Slay.
I'm so sorry. I did absolutely die at one thing during the All Stars weekend though, and I don't know if you caught on this one.
Okay, what?
Because I was actually intrigued with this whole golf puck kind of dealio going on. I kind of
Very
like
Florida.
that. But also like, why couldn't they just do the whole section instead of like flip flopping? That pissed me off. Why are they flip flopping? I
Oh.
just finish a hole. And
Mhm.
who was it? Who won? Was it Suzuki? Who
I
won?
think I forget.
I think
was
he
really
won.
tuned in and
And
out.
for winning that, you know, they get the prizes for winning all the skill contests and
you!
everything.
I was
he
talking
got
to that.
he got a year's supply of Chipotle, and
Oh my
his
God!
response was, "Oh yeah, but we don't have those in Montreal."
Stop right now. Stop. I'm dying.
That killed me. It's just kind of like, "Yay, I won!
Chipotle.
I won nothing." Like,
Thanks,
fucking
this is useless.
Chipotle.
Pass it. Oh, wait, double it or pass it? Wait, what is it? Take it
Oh,
or
God.
double it?
Make it or double it to
Yeah.
the next person.
I guess every time he's playing games on the road, go see if is there a Chipotle in the city?
Oh my God,
You're
true.
an athlete. You're an athlete. You probably eat like really specific stuff and have
Yeah.
a really good
Chipotle's
diet.
good.
Chipotle.
I mean, yeah, it'll be
Chipotle-
heavy in carbs.
Chipotle. No, not if
Chipotle.
you do the salad, Jesse. You got to do the
No, I know, but
salad and then you add the
you
protein.
can make it heavy in carbs.
Yeah, but
You can. It's true.
you can have a healthy chipotle, but come on now.
We've got one. Well, not we because we don't live in Ottawa, but Ottawa has one.
It
Now.
has. I didn't understand how it worked and had a
I
very
know.
awkward experience in the
I was
Chipotle.
scared. I was scared, Molly. I was scared the first time.
They
Like,
give you
ugh.
instructions. I need instructions.
They
like,
stare at you and-
everywhere. Like, what do you want? I'm like, I've never been here before. Can you not tell I'm foreign? Help.
Corn, tomatoes, lettuce, salsa. What? What are you saying?
Well, when I go to
Guacamole?
restaurants like that, especially new ones, I usually end up picking almost all the toppings.
My
Just,
anxiety
put
goes
that
to
in. Put that
everything.
in. That looks
Hey,
good.
it
Put that in.
Jesse's hack. Everything.
Yeah, like
Love
4
that.
sauces.
Wait, okay. Actually, this is a perfect transition. Like, what about what we liked? Okay, because we've been like ranting. There's some things I liked, right?
Yeah.
The jerseys.
I did not
Yeah,
like
the jerseys
those.
were cool. I liked them.
I
I thought it was cool to see on the ice. There were some bizarre ones, no doubt.
They
But-
have
Yeah.
a retro, nostalgic, ugly 90s vibe to them.
I dug it.
I mean,
I dug it.
it's something that I can coexist with for sure, but it's a choice that was made.
Say it's better than having the All-Star jerseys, except this year I actually liked the All-Star colors and jerseys. So it's a
The
bummer
colors
that
were better.
yeah, the colors were cool, man. I mean, it made sense in Florida, right? So still in the
Yeah.
Miami Heat vibe.
I was hoping
But-
they'd go throw back a bit to those older jerseys that they used to use. I think in the 80s that were like mostly orange and black. Like when the NHL logo was that color too. That seemed to be like their
Oh, yeah,
primary color
Jesse.
scheme for NHL jerseys for the All-Star games back in the day.
Oh
so I thought
my.
if if you do a reverse retro for NHL All Stars, it would be that template that you would use, but I guess not.
What else did we actually like about the All Stars game?
Listen, I liked I thought there were some funny moments, like they're creative on some of the stuff, like I did like adding a little bit of something different with the goaltenders because they get gypped most of the time, right?
It was funny to see the goalies try to just shoot the puck for fun.
Yeah, and some actually got in the hole. I'm like, that's impressive. Cool, I love it.
Something a little different, right? Getting to see someone like Shesterkin getting involved in a game where he actually has to just like shoot. I found it so funny when he had to shoot the pucks at the surfboards just like everybody else, and I thought
But
it
he
was
used
just like
his goalie stick.
yeah, I thought like oh we'll
Yeah.
get to see his skills like with accuracy and some. I don't know if it's his choice or they told him he had to do it, whatever it was. I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Listen, I'm sorry. I gotta say two things I didn't like because again, there's nothing that I did really like. But the players, whenever they're introducing them, they are all like stuck in a stoic manner. Like they look so sad to be there.
It's
There's
like they're
not
told
a
you're not allowed to
smile.
smile. You're
I
not
know,
allowed
it's
to
They
like-
don't
smile.
want to be there.
Well,
They're like they put their little hand up, like yeah, I'm here, yay, and like no one
I,
claps.
yeah, like they seem like they're having fun at least between each other, like when they're just chatting on the bench together,
for
when they're
sure.
interacting with their family, and as
And then
soon
like,
as
oh,
they get in
I've
the
got no
event,
pay.
yeah, or they're in the spotlight,
Oh, I'll be
look, I
right
have to
back.
go, bleh,
yeah.
BRB. Like, jeez.
No,
Did you see some of the outfits some of the players wore?
Oh my
Mhm.
God, Brady Kachuk there.
Can I just say I'm in love
With
with
who?
Pasternak?
I love Pasta. Stop it. I have a huge crush on
I'm
him
in
now.
love with him. I know I was joking by saying I was a secret Bruins fan, but I don't know what's happening.
I do like Pat. I enjoyed his
I've
his
always loved Pasta.
his Happy Gilmore bit.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
He was
The fact that he just
guys,
went for it.
He was so into it. Like he was.
There was a lot of moments where players are doing like a little bit of a skit, right? So it's like half acting, and a
Yeah.
lot of them are really wooden or
Terrible.
cringy or bad. But
Don't
like
talk about
Pasternak
Mitch
seemed like he was
Marner.
having fun. Yeah,
Don't talk to me about Mitch.
Don't talk to me
Mitch-
about it.
Mitch
They're
was
so
on the
cringy.
opposite spectrum.
I
Who
love
was-
him for it though. He was really having fun, but we.
Yeah,
I'm really kind of like I was getting really amped up to watch Luongo because of
yes.
Nisha now. I specifically was awake for that, and it
Hmm.
was really pathetic.
Well,
But-
they told him you're gonna be the best. You're like one of the best. Like you're elite, but you're also never going to make a save because you have to not make a save. By the way.
Well, he made a save
Hmm.
on Mitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. I don't think that was the
Uh,
plan. Apparently.
Yeah. Marner's bit was a real dud because it starts off with like a really cringy skit that you're like, okay, it's a
What are
little
you doing?
embarrassing, but whatever. Well, it could be funny, and then he follows it up by not like just missing, and you're like, wow, this everything was a dud. Big L for Marner.
Was he a figure skater in a real life? Like in a real life, in a previous life?
Oh my
Just-
god, I think so. Based off of how he freaking skates, though, yes, but in a positive way. Let's just say I love him because, unlike a lot of the other NHL stars, he's actually into it. Even if it's bad, he's having a good time. He's smiling all the
Yeah.
time. He's interacting with people. He's trying his best. So, I'll take it. And same with Pasta. He loves this shit. Like, he's great.
Mm, true.
And then you have like fucking Connor McDavid that's just there like blinking at the TV.
Well, it's because he's got no personality. If you were a piece of paper reincarnated as a person, you'd do the same.
Are you saying he's one-dimensional, or I guess he's two-dimensional, but he's pretty flat.
I can't right now. We gotta fold him up and make him 3D. Like something's gotta change.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I've got so much hate for McDavid, but apparently I do.
Oh, maybe it's that he's a cheater, but whatever. It's just
Look
me.
who-
I
Do
can't.
any of you two maybe have some wacky ideas for new skill competitions that you would like to see? We see that every
Yes.
year. They usually have a sort of like fun, silly themed one that they add in depending on the location they're at. They kind of mix it
I
up,
have a
right?
good idea.
Yes, you go
Give me your
first.
pitches.
controversial, but I'd actually like to see some actual hockey.
Yes. Oh my god.
Bold suggestion.
That's too much, Mal. No.
Sorry,
Mall.
it's mol.
I
Bit of a
called you
bold
Mal.
suggestion.
Because
Five
Mal
on
is
five, 3
way too
periods. Are
long.
you mad?
Here's
Oh,
my pitch.
Go for it.
Okay. I think since they bring their children, I think every all-star should put their children in mini jerseys of them and have them go at it on a team.
Pee-wee All-Star.
And they're just like, ee, and they're freaking falling everywhere, and it's adorable because they have little like Ovechkin's child. It's just like Ovechkin on the back of his back. It's like it is an Ovechkin, but he's baby.
I wish they would add in, like, in the television broadcast, the mascot games.
I wish.
Same.
I wanna see that
So
shit.
funny.
I want to see that. That's all that I watch All Stars for, is to see the mascots just.
That's
fuck
why we
about.
go. We gotta go to the All-Star weekend and then
Yeah.
see that live.
I want to get a photo with Gritty.
Oh
Don't know
yeah,
how it's gonna
absolutely.
happen.
That's our
I
guy.
would like to see maybe a sort of blindfolded shootout competition. Whether
Ooh.
we do the players are blindfolded and they have to shoot on the goalies, or you do the goalies are blindfolded and they have to try and save
No.
shots,
The
That's
goal.
not
or
fair.
just do both.
Well, if the goalie is,
Goalie and player blindfolded, and
I
one
think
has
that
to
would be
shoot, one
so
has
funny.
to save.
and they have to spin around 3 times.
I can imagine how hilarious that would look. Come on now.
That would
That's
I
be-
want to
funny.
see. I want to see Matt Murray in goal just to push it over and be like, "Look, I saved it."
Wait, I want everyone in the arena to be in on a secret and start screaming as if he's made a save, but really he really didn't. And then he opens up.
When they started talking about this year having the goalies shoot the puck from one end of the ice to the net at the other, I was like, oh man, we should just have a competition where it's 2 goaltenders at both ends of the ice and they have to try and score on each other.
That's
Lobbing
impossible.
pucks.
Okay, no, hear me out. Goalies. Goalies is the players, players is the goalies. Period.
Yeah, see,
Done.
that would be another fun little reversal.
Honestly, what we want to see is ridiculous fun stuff. You know,
Put
things that you never
McDavid in
see.
net and
Yeah.
then try to make Vasilevsky deke him out.
Oh my gosh, I
Oh
love
my
that.
god.
I love it. Helmets for shoes, and oh my god. Okay, now I'm going.
We've got
Okay,
potential.
skaters in dresses.
I could see that.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know what it brings
All-Star
to it, but I
weekend.
don't mind it, you know.
What I would like to see is an all-star mini game, which is women all-star against the men all-star, and see who can
Nice.
play it better.
Yeah, but you have to make sure that the guys. Oh, I would actually lose my mind if the guys decided, oh, let's play easy. I would lose my
A co-ed
mind.
game? I wouldn't
Or
mind a co-ed game. Mix them in.
That's
a
what Molly's
co-ed
saying.
game, so it's mixed. It's not men versus women. It's mixed, so they have to play well together.
Yes, they have to play well to each other, and with each other. Sorry, and they cannot just pass it to the girls because they're like, oh, cute. Like, no, I want serious. And Sarah Nurse would know. Okay, that's my girl.
She would know.
She would know.
Mm.
She wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, no, I think a co-ed game would be pretty fun.
So fun, guys.
If you wanted, you could
Ooh,
even do
yeah.
something like how like they gave us one time where they gave us like a mini game between the girls.
The girls,
You could
yeah.
do something where like do like a split team where like the team is half guys, half girls. You do one period the girls play, one period the guys play, and then the third period they're all mixed together, maybe, sort of thing.
I guess
So like maybe your team won the girls won the first period for you, and then maybe the second period the guys
Oh yeah,
won
they
it or
do
lost
that
it.
already on the All Stars, right? Like switching the lines up per period, so that would work.
Yeah, and then the third period they're all mixed together.
Yeah,
Ooh, I
I
like
love
this.
it. I love it.
Well, see, that was easy. We already fixed everything.
Listen,
We
we got
fixed
so
it.
many ideas. I could do a whole episode on the kinds of competitions they should add. So
We
There you go.
copyright this just so NHL, if you're
don't.
listening,
Yeah.
don't steal from us, or else we will come for you. I have a
we
lawyer.
will come for you. We're gonna add you to our non-star list.
Oh, I
Oh,
was joking with
speaking of-
Chanel that we should include a cheer competition where you know how the Canes used to do the storm surge at the end of their victories?
Yeah.
Do something like that, where like the all-star teams together have to come up with like a sort of celebration at the end, and that's
I
the
love
cheer
that.
competition, right? The team spirit.
Oh my god,
That's
don't.
cute. That's so cute. I love it.
We're dynamite. Woo!
Ooh.
I can't. We're tick,
I think it'd
tick,
be so
tick, tick, boom.
They would all
dynamite.
just like go in a line, say "Go team."
Oh
And
my
then-
No,
god.
don't.
Winner,
As a
winner.
former cheerleader, honestly, as a
Oh my
former
god,
cheerleader,
me
that would be
too.
absolutely terrifying.
What if we include skill competitions that are not hockey related, like a singing competition?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Come on now.
Like
I'd
a
like-
dance contest, something like
I'd
that.
like to see Brad Marchand sing "I Did It My Way."
Wait. Oh my gosh. Okay. 5 players, 5 all-stars with canvases facing away from the camera. And there's PK Subban who's announcing, and he's like, okay, you need to paint this, and then you got to do this, and then you got to paint that. And then at the end, they reveal their paintings, and it's probably
gritty.
hilarious.
Oh my god,
it's
yeah, an
good.
art competition.
Yeah.
We could even
Not
do like
gritty.
a you could do like a little a Jeopardy style event, maybe NHL quizzing trivia with some of the players, see how good they are. Do Jeopardy style or whatever.
That could be a mini side game that they show on television
Exactly.
or something.
Pick out your all-stars who are the biggest hockey nerds, and
Anyways, when are we gonna get hired for this shit? Like, I'm free. I'm free.
I mean, I actually have got a life, but I'm free.
Oh, I don't got a life.
God, that
Come on
sounded
now.
so bad.
I would do it for free just out of the fun of it, right? Like,
This is literally
No.
what I went to school for. So sign me up. Take me. That's so funny.
I like this. Let's do that. Should we go on to our main event
Oh,
before
yes.
we get carried away?
Before we get carried away, girl.
What do you mean? What are we
Carried.
just doing? Carry
We've
someone
been
carry me.
We'll have
I'm
to
just
do
gonna
this
lie
one.
down. Hold on.
Ugh.
Ugh,
She needs
I'm
to
gonna have to
lie
lie
down.
down for this one.
She
I need
got
to-
really passionate.
The idea that we had here, we actually joked about this last episode, and we said we might as well do it because I know when it comes to the All-Star games, I know a lot of people sometimes discuss who they think should be the All-Stars, who should be selected, how they should go about it, all that stuff. And some people will give their opinions and maybe try to form their own All-Star teams, but we figured it'd be maybe a bit more fun to try and pick our own non-star team.
The anti-All-Star weekend.
Exactly. The guys who maybe don't get enough attention, or maybe they do, just not for the right reasons.
Yeah, and we're not. It's gonna come off mean for sure. And it is. But also, we understand that all of these hockey players are there for a reason. They're good at what they do, but there are people that are always going to be better than you, and that's just that. So that's my disclaimer. Don't come for us. We're just having fun.
We're
Oh, yeah,
having
even-
fun.
Even the
Yeah.
worst player in the NHL technically is still a good hockey player overall.
Girl, I couldn't play them. How
Yeah,
could I
exactly.
possibly do that?
Phenomenal. 100%.
It takes a lot to be an NHL player. Like when you look at the skill gap between the guys at the bottom and the guys at the top, it's technically not that huge. Like it's just
Yeah.
a matter of like maybe some of the ones who have developed the skills, like they've just fine-tuned them more. Just sometimes talent too, obviously. Like talent.
They know
does
how to
really
hone it
cause a
in.
gap.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
Take
So,
it to
like,
the advantage. Yeah.
We did try to follow the same criterias for the All-Star team, where we're going to pick 9 skaters of any position and 2 goaltenders per each division. We're going to have a minimum of 1 player per team, so everybody feels included. So now we have a bit of the opposite problem, where like some teams maybe we should argue should not be included because they are too good to be included in the non-star team. So some
Hey,
guys
that's
will have
what
been
this-
selected.
Yeah, that's why the disclaimer's out there, because it's not completely accurate. Listen.
Oh yeah,
It's hard
Well,
to find
we
terrible
can definitely
people.
say that some of these guys do not deserve to be here, but
Yeah.
since we're doing the 1 per team thing just for the fun of it,
Let's do
we
it,
did try
yeah.
to restrict ourselves to players who actually played for most of the games this year for their team. So if a guy was just injured for too long or has only played a few games, right? Like if you have, let's say, a goalie who comes up for 1 game and loses his 1 game and he's got a 0% win record or whatever, like we're not
That
going to
doesn't
harp on
count.
him.
No.
Exactly. And we really wanted NHLers. We don't want guys who are really an AHLer at the moment. We're trying to stick to
Yeah, Jesse fought me with that because I really wanted Nikita Zaitsev in here, but whatever.
Honorable
Yeah, I
mention.
mean that's more of like a, I guess it's like a non-star dishonorable mention because the only reason
Dishonorable
he,
mention.
right? The only reason he doesn't qualify is because at this point he's played way more time in the AHL. The poor guy, being scratched, right? Like he's not even an NHLer anymore. He doesn't fit on our NHL non-star team.
Oi.
Oof.
Oh man, that's rough. When you don't even fit on the non-star team, where are you going?
Just like
Oh,
the
boy.
all-star team, we do have a mix of reputation having an impact on here, right? Some guys who have a
Yes.
reputation maybe for not being one of the best players on their team in general and are still having a pretty mediocre year. And some guys are literally non-stars. Like some of these guys you might never have heard of, depending on how closely you follow the league. And in general, there's also just some guys that it's kind of just unfortunate. They're not having a great season. Their team's not having a great season. They just happen to be at the bottom and they end up getting picked. And it's like, I feel bad for you, but this year's not your year. It's okay. Some of these guys are good players and they will
Can change
maybe even
next year.
rebound.
Exactly.
And then there's some guys that just really suck.
There's just some
So-
people that just shouldn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Or
so
shouldn't
let's
start.
start with the Atlantic and talk about the skaters that we selected. I think the Bruins is easy to go through first, right? Just because they're so good that you normally wouldn't include anybody unless you have to. So we just landed on Thomas Nosek because he's probably the weakest link on that team.
Well, he actually is the weakest link on that team. Like he's kind of doing real like piss poor. so
but
there you
again, it's
go.
not really that bad compared to some other guys this season. It really is just a matter of like we had to pick someone from Boston, so
Let me just add that I definitely would pick Brad Marchand. Just because of his attitude, not because he's fantastic. I
He's
love him.
phenomenal.
I love Brad. Listen,
He's rat.
he's
Marchand.
rat. So you got to throw him in the non-stars because he's rat. Ta 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 ta. You know,
even his bad behavior is sometimes appealing because it's
it's
like the sort of like the villain you love to hate, right?
absolutely.
It's not even that like villainous either. It's just kind
No.
of like
It's like antagonistic.
Yeah, I'm rat.
Yeah, mischievous.
I just picture like a freaking claymation rat eating cheese there with his eyes wide. I don't know why, but
For the Buffalo Sabres, actually, I feel like in any other year we would have a ton of names to choose from, but this year the team's actually pretty solid. So we just landed on forward
Yeah.
Zemgus Girgensson.
Yes. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Zemgus. Is it Zemgus or Zegmus? I always forget. It's always
no, it's Zemgus
Zemgus Girgensson.
Zemgus.
Yep.
Gergensons. Yeah.
He's not a terrible forward, but he's always like kind of like middling at the bottom of the team, and the team is getting better, and he's still kind of in that same position that he was in the past. So I guess that's just kind of his like consistency level.
Surprisingly enough, I just want to add that like Tyson Yost is there with him, although he's had less games played because of was he injured or was
Well, no,
he
it's
just
'cause of
not
his
off
trade,
on the roster?
right? He didn't play the whole season with Buffalo. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few guys that we didn't end up landing on because they kind of had a bit of a split season, right, with one team or another, and it's kind of hard to like place them on one team or the other for a choice, right?
Yeah.
Since we had the time to select it last minute, we don't have any Bo Horvat situations, and we don't care about injury too. If the guy's injured, whatever, he can still participate. We don't care.
This is the non-stars. Come on.
Come
Yeah,
on
if you want to
now.
come on with a broken leg, feel free.
Come on now.
For Detroit, I feel like there was a bit of an easy choice right off the bat for he's been the punching bag for multiple teams, defenseman Ben Sherratt.
Ben, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's just not had a good time, really, has he, since joining Detroit?
I mean, has he ever had a good time? The last few teams, man.
No,
I'm,
literally.
I'm
when he
trying to
was,
be nice, but also you're not wrong.
I've got to say his entire career is like his best year was with Winnipeg in like the 2018-19 season, and even then it's like it's average.
Yeah, it's been diminishing returns ever since, even though he seems to still be valued highly by GMs all the time. He keeps getting traded for or signed and somehow highly valued, and I know a lot of
I
fans
don't
kind of
know
scratch their heads at
how.
that.
He might have
Maybe he's
off-ice
just-
value.
Maybe,
Well,
and like,
I
he's
was
a
gonna
tough guy.
say, maybe he like does really good with the slamming people into boards part.
Maybe he's good in the
Mm.
locker room.
Also, I was wrong.
Oh.
I just checked. I made my best guess, but I was incorrect. It was the 2019-2020 season with Montreal, although he did play a little less because, yeah, pandemic.
Yeah, was he
Okay.
worth the first round pick, Florida?
No, God.
God, no. That's funny.
God, no. Yeah,
For
so
Detroit,
that's an obvious one.
We added Adam Ernie also as a forward for Detroit. Unfortunately, Adam Ernie's been having a bit of a subpar year, and actually even just recently just got waived. He actually has had some pretty solid seasons in the past, and with Tampa and Detroit, and this year just is not going his way. It kind of feels like that for Detroit in general, though. Montreal, we selected defenseman Joel Edmondson. And-
Montreal.
Yep.
Aren't we
We're gonna
skipping
get to our goalies at the end.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll talk skaters first, and then we save our goaltending tandem for after.
Okay. Fair enough.
But
fair
yeah,
enough.
Joel Edmondson, he was injured to start, so he hasn't played as many games, but he's still played a lot, and the amount that he's played has been pretty rough. Montreal's had a lot of rough time, but it seems like it is pretty evenly spread. The minuses are spread pretty evenly across the lineup.
Dude, the minuses are ridiculous for the Montreal Canadiens right now. Like seriously, guys, the plus minus for the Montreal Canadiens, everyone is in the minus.
Yeah.
It's not
Actually,
okay.
Stop
It's
it.
really not okay.
Everyone's in the minus except for Raphael Harvey Pinard and Jonathan Kovacevic.
Yeah, Kovacevic.
Oh,
I think
and
that's right.
Chris
Pronounce that.
Weidman. 3 players are in the plus. That's it.
Yeah, and I think the previous two, like I know Harvey Pinard only started playing recently,
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's
but he has
the
been
other
playing
part.
well though. He's been, at least there's that. We almost put in Uri Slavkovsky, which would have felt a little mean maybe. He was up for consideration. I know it sucks for him, but Montreal's in a bad spot, so.
I think the whole team was kind of up for consideration at this point, really.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
is true.
Kind of looking at them, bro, their highest score is Nick Suzuki. Well, not
Yeah.
score, because that's Cole Caulfield, but
Yeah, and he's out for the rest of the season now.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He would have probably had a lot more points, but even then, the average of this team is low, and it makes sense. That's they're very low in the season, so yikes. We should probably do an entire episode on them en français.
Oh,
Oh.
sure.
Maybe for later, eh?
We'll keep that in the back of our minds, okay?
Another team with a lot of options for players that are having bad seasons was
God, the
Ottawa.
Sens.
So we did include
Yeah.
defensemen Eric Brandstrom and Travis Hamonic. Travis Hamonic definitely kind of unpopular defenseman on the last few teams he's been on anyways, so it's not necessarily surprising to see him here. Brandstrom is more of a sucks to see you here because I know there's been a lot of hope for him working out for Ottawa, especially since they acquired him via trade. I forget, was he part of the trade for Mark Stone or Carlson?
Who?
Eric Brandstrom. Forget which trade he came in.
Here's
through
some
to Ottawa.
clicking.
I like it. You're asking like I remember.
You guys don't remember?
No offense. I have no idea.
'Cause I always forget which one of the prospects were tossed in from because they obviously got a lot of prospects from the Carlson trade and then the Mark Stone trade. Oh yeah, it was the Mark Stone trade. That's what it was. So yeah, and
Oh
it seems
my
like
God.
he might not be fitting in well with the coach too. It's hard to tell where it's going, but yeah.
I have to say though, with Hamonic, I'm a little disappointed because how are you gonna play all the games, every single one of them, and only get 8 points? That's all I gotta say.
He's just not doing his job properly, is he?
Nope.
No.
We have Tampa Bay Lightning next too. Like Tampa Bay, hard to pick a person who's having a bad season explicitly. Like it's overall a pretty solid team. So we landed on Pierre-Edouard Bellemare for being the more, I guess, underwhelming player this year, and that's not.
Can't believe you've done this.
Can't believe this.
I apologize.
You can never speak ill of Bellemare.
He's a good boy. I like him. He does what he does. He's on the older side too. He's got reduced minutes. So like it's not like I'm putting.
Oh my God, he's almost 40. What a handsome young man.
Toronto's a little tough too because there's not really a lot of guys having a bad season. So we landed on Zach Aston-Reese for being kind of an underperforming forward this year.
Yes, I agree with Zach Aston Reese because, I mean, he's a forward. He should be making a little bit more than that, but he is like, not on the top line. We'll say that. And then obviously you're pitting him against Justin Hall, right? Because Justin
Well, yeah.
Hall is, with our eyeballs, we see how terrible he has been.
Yeah.
Like,
It almost seems like it fluctuates too. Like he has rough
he
streaks
has
and
really
then
good days.
really good streaks, right?
I know, and I'm like, oh, I never said a bad thing about Justin Hall. And then the next day I'm like, you bitch. No, just kidding. I would never say that. In
Moving
public.
on to our goaltending, we did select in the end for the Florida Panthers. We skipped them over, going through alphabetically because the one choice from Florida was Sergei Bobrovsky.
It's been
Not
a bit
too surprising.
disappointing.
Yeah, that kind of seems
It's
to be his
his
thing, right?
thing.
1 year
Yeah.
on, 1 year off.
That's that is his thing, and
So
it's really embarrassing when you're making that much money too.
he should be good next year, right?
Oh yeah, next year he's on Q. He's his save percentage right now is what 0 is in the 800s for sure.
Oh yeah. And then we've got for Montreal, Jake Allen.
I think that's good.
Yeah, probably worst season of his career at this point, really. Especially if you're looking at like the amount of goals he's let in. He's had some rough games, and I feel bad for him too, because he's there behind a rebuilding team. He's gonna take the shit that's coming at him.
Well, actually, this is definitely his. Did you say this was his worst year?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely his worst year.
Like I'm not even looking at the stats, and I can just tell that like this is probably his worst year.
Yeah. Because they've often went with him for situations, and he was there. I don't know. That's all I gotta say about that.
Metro? Okie dokie. Let's roll through it. Okay, Carolina. So, Carolina having a great season, not a lot of choices really. So in the end, we selected Derek Stepan, just being kind of underwhelming, bottom six forward. He's on the older side. He's not getting as many minutes, so that's pretty understandable. But nothing against him. Columbus was rough because there was a lot of choices for a lot of players having pretty bad seasons, and
Oh my god.
I feel bad for doing this, but I landed on Cole Sillinger. He is still young. He's still showing a lot of promise. I think he will do good over time, but like this year, it's not good. It's bad for the whole team. Let's be honest. It's a throwaway year.
Yeah, I mean he's brand new, but yeah.
The New Jersey Devils also not really a lot of guys to criticize. So in the end, we selected Brendan Smith on defense, just being the sort of like I guess least remarkable defenseman, which is probably the best thing you can say about New Jersey is the fact that we just had to settle on someone going, eh.
And for the New York Islanders, we chose Scott Mayfield over Sebastian Aho. Just barely.
Looking at the stats, we landed on Scott Mayfield by a slight margin.
Mid.
But, Sebastian Aho almost swayed us with the, if we factored in the DUI to start the year.
Oops.
Maybe that puts him into the non-star category, I guess.
Yeah, not very
For
cool.
being a trash
Anyways.
human. Yeah.
For the New York Rangers, we did select Sammy Blais. He is having
Blais.
quite the disappointing year. I think he is finally back from they just recalled him from a conditioning stint from the AHL because he was injured for a bit. But he's only had 5 assists so far in like about somewhere in the mid-30s amount of games. And he was
embarrassing.
Yeah, and remember, he was traded for Pavel Buchnevich. And Buchnevich's been really good with the Blues overall. Sammy Blais has just been like just rough return. I feel bad for the kid, but like, it's not going well in New York for him. Philadelphia Flyers, take your pick, right? We got options.
I say Ristolainen, like he is he was a really good player and he's just kind of going down. What's next?
Was he ever
season?
Good?
Yeah, he was good.
He had potential,
I
feel
think that's the problem is
a team like the Flyers is a lot of players who were good on the Flyers because of the situation. They're just getting worse because they haven't got the opportunity to thrive.
Yeah, because it's hard with Ristolainen because he's been on just 2 shit teams.
Terrible teams. Yeah, so
Exactly.
he could make a lot of points because he's the best on that shit team, and it's just kind of staggering his stats. Or it's literally the team sucks so bad I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So.
And our other choice for the Flyers was Nick Deslauriers. He's not the strongest forward in terms of his play, but strongest in terms of beating up people. Yes, he's got that going for him. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
people
yeah.
were critical about his contract at the beginning of the year, and I agree.
Penguins.
Pittsburgh. In terms of the forwards, I felt bad putting this guy on, but Teddy Bluger. I like Teddy Bluger. I feel bad for Teddy Bluger this year. It's not going well.
Hopefully next year goes better for him.
It's
I
just
know.
not his year.
And it sucked too because he was injured to start the year. People were looking forward to when he come back into the lineup, and it just hasn't gone well.
He is still young. He's got time to grow. Well, he's not young, but he's young to the NHL is what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
relatively speaking. Yeah,
You know what I
I think
mean?
he'll still be solid enough. It's just
Yeah,
it's one
solid
of those years.
is the word. But just not this year.
Washington was actually kind of hard to pick someone that really stands out as the worst on the team. So we did land on Martin Ferravari being the sort of most mid defenseman, I guess you could say, that they have. But
So
he's still
mid.
not that bad.
So mid.
And then for
Yeah.
our goaltending, the two that really stood out as the worst goaltenders right now
Oh my
for our non-star
God.
team in the Metro, Elvis Merzlikins for the Columbus Blue Jackets. The poor guy's been having, I think, the last few years have been pretty rough for him.
Honestly, I love that guy. His name's Elvis.
Oh, I like the guy, but
His name's
It's just
Elvis
his-
Merzlikins.
It just his goaling isn't very good.
no,
I think
Columbus
our other
absolutely
goalie has been
needs to
very
change it.
disappointing recently as well. But
Yeah, Jonas
that just might be
Korpisalo
me
too.
thing.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
they're both kind of like they take turns being the most underwhelming on the team,
Oh, I love that
essentially.
for them.
Right? It really
Yeah.
is
That's
a
so
tandem.
kind. That's so kind of them.
And we settled on Casey DeSmith with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh has been really having an up and down year throughout the season, and Casey DeSmith feels like he's really been lagging behind to the point now where Jari is really solidifying his position as starter, where in other seasons sometimes Jari drops the ball and Casey DeSmith picks up the slack, right? So
Yeah,
who
I
knows?
feel like it flip
Yeah.
flops, but that was really difficult. Flip flop between those two, like Jarry and DeSmith, because they're both really good goalies. I just don't know why he's dropped the puck, so to speak.
By the end of the year, maybe it changes, right?
Yeah,
All right,
So going on
Central.
to the Central, yep.
central.
Coyotes.
Oh,
Molly, Patrick
Nemeth.
Nemeth.
It's just the whole team is made out of
Feels
the
sad.
Coyotes.
Well,
Yeah,
I-
honestly, there was a lot of defensemen in our selection process because it seems like defensemen are usually the ones who are going to have the most ugly statistics on bad teams, right?
Hey, but he's the
Mhm.
worst player in the league almost. Like, I'm sorry, but in terms of defensemen,
Yeah, if you're looking at pure just like numbers
he's
for the amount of games
terrible.
played.
I'm sorry.
And we almost picked on Josh Brown, but the other defenseman we decided to pick on in Arizona was Troy Stetcher. Yeah, they're both just having rough seasons, but they're on rough teams, right? Like, who knows how they would perform on better teams, but they're on Arizona and it's not going well.
Yeah.
For Chicago, it seemed, although there was many players to pick from, it still seemed like an easy choice because Jack Johnson is there.
The way you
He-
said that.
I know, I feel bad because like I feel that he seems like a nice guy. It just, it seems like every team he's been on, he's been criticized for being one of the worst defensemen that somehow still sticks in the top 6 every time.
You know what?
And-
Maybe he's the worst. I'm saying, I mean it. I mean it.
He could be in contention in terms of like guys who are like regularly in the lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
N-
yeah.
Okay. Like every time he's on the ice, guys, every time he's on the ice, there's a goal against. That's just the facts. It's true.
He's just there like, shit.
No,
Oh,
Chicago
come on,
has been really having a shit year.
dude.
They
You
kind of deserve it.
need to put him in the rinse cycle. Like, holy.
Need to freshen up.
Yeah.
Air dry. Yeah.
Molly, I don't know how much you agree with this or not, but we did settle on Andrew Cogliano for Colorado.
I had concerns about the list you made, by the way. Absolute blasphemy against Colorado Avalanche.
Well, that's the thing, right? They're
But-
not that. Although they're having their struggles, there's not an individual player you could point to and say he's the worst. It's more like they're just suffering from all the injuries.
And the thing is the ones that I would have picked have been traded off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So that sounds really bad, doesn't it? So looking at it, you chose wisely.
Yeah, I almost like
Cogliano, for
theoretically
sure.
we could have picked Matt Nieto in terms of how he's been doing this year, but he technically has only been with Colorado for what, like 2 games?
Yeah, and I don't think it's very fair.
Not
Also,
representative.
Sam Girard and Eric Johnson have both had injury time.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Like
So,
2 days
Yeah.
though, right?
yeah, but that's injury enough. The Avalanche is a mess, okay? When it comes to
No.
injuries, it's rotating.
Yeah.
They'll have like one day injured, one day fine, one day injured, one day fine. And that
It's
can really
true.
have a huge effect on the game as well, especially with the Colorado defense. It's a trend, it's a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you didn't pick a defense for Colorado Avalanche because I'd be coming for you.
So it feels like
Just saying.
Cogliano maybe is just selected
Safe.
as the most mediocre out of a still decent bunch.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dallas Stars, again, solid year, so not really a lot of guys you could pick on. It really was a matter of picking between some forwards at the bottom like Luke Glendening or Joel Kiviranta, and we just landed on Luke Glendening because he seemed to have the worst stats overall. But honestly, there's not much criticism towards Dallas on that front, honestly, so like not a big
Yeah.
deal. He's still fine. Like they still have him in his depth. He's still probably going to be okay. There's not too much to like players to pick on specifically in Dallas right now.
Okay. The Minnesota Wild. I feel bad to say Matt Dimba, but Matt Dimba. It's true, but he's
Yeah.
been such a solid. Well, I wouldn't say completely solid. Like he's average. He's average, right?
He
But
started off strong, and it feels like it's been a slow decline.
It's a middling.
He's a defenseman, and he makes a lot of points normally. So it's surprising that he's at this spot right now. We want to take him back to his 2017-2018 season, but that will never happen.
And there's even the drama this year with him getting scratched by the coach, right, a few times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yikes.
Technically, other defensemen would have qualified, I think, for the list as well in this team. But Matt Dumba, maybe we did go a little bit with reputation and just the sort of like, the decline, right?
Well, no, I think he's a pretty average defenseman, but that's for another. We can talk about that another time.
Nashville, I think there was really just one good choice for this, and it was Jeremy Lauzon on defense.
Oh yes, of course.
The poor kid showed potential over the years, especially like early on in Boston, but like it seems like he just kind of keeps getting passed around and it's not going anywhere. So like I don't know if he's going to stick around in Nashville or if he's going to get passed around to another team again, but it just doesn't seem to be going well for him overall.
I have an honourable, dishonourable, kind of controversial maybe mention for Preds.
Oh.
Okay, who?
Duchesne.
Oh.
Because he's gone from like all-star status to what the fuck are you even doing on the ice there?
Yeah, that's fair, honestly.
You're actually totally right. Like, yeah.
I think it's a matter of like he was technically doing pretty poorly with Nashville so far. Then last year he had an amazing year.
Ooh.
And then
Last
he fell
year was
right
so
back down.
good.
Hot.
Yeah, I think ever since he left Avalanche, it's just been shit for him.
I mean, but
Like,
again, when we're
he
making
went to
comparisons,
Sens. So, I think that would like crush anyone's soul. So understandable, but it's, I don't know, he's a non-star to me now. Like, I don't even know who he is anymore.
if you really want to talk controversial picks, I think St. Louis is going to be the place for our very controversial selections, I think. St. Louis is the
Yeah.
selections that'll piss off people the most. So
Definitely.
there definitely was some choices on defense that could fit for our selection for St. Louis. But we did want to try and balance things out with the mix of forwards and defensemen. We're already having to pick so many defensemen, considering how everything shook out. And there's one guy that stands out on the team just by how much, I guess you could say, he has fallen compared to previous performance. And our choice for the non-star team,
Yeah. Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Not
I mean,
having
he
a
used
good
to be an
year.
Avalanche, and look how far he's fallen.
Oh, let's all tie this back to the Avs, right? Once you leave
I mean,
that
look-
team,
It's
you're
just-
done.
He'll always have that cup with St. Louis, which is more than a lot of players can say.
True. To
But,
be fair, he played for the Avalanche when the Avalanche were doing great, so
Yeah. Just
can't
not
really.
his year, right?
This is absolutely his worst season to date.
Yep.
100, yeah.
Absolutely.
The thing is, depending on how St. Louis feels, like if they think they're going to want to retain him or not, there is a possibility he could still be a hot commodity at the trade deadline despite his poor season.
Yeah, because he can probably come back.
Yeah.
And then, of course, our pick for sure.
Winnipeg.
No, Jordan Binnington.
The goalies are last.
We don't care. This is important, Jesse.
So
Okay.
important, Jesse.
Go ahead.
Jordan
The
Binnington.
Binnington. Yeah.
Go to the poubelle. Sucks.
Dans les poubelles maintenant.
His tantrums, like he's such a child. I don't even know if we can put him in the game, or rather, we should just put him in a freaking costume and have him parade around the arena.
And also, he's just been playing
just
not so great.
Yeah, that was the funny part when I was looking up the potential candidates for this list. I knew that Chanel and Molly would really want to put him on there just by reputation and personal dislike. But when we were looking in terms of which two goalies are having, I guess, the worst season in terms of starting goalies for all these teams in the Central, Jordan Binnington makes the list. So it's personal and objective.
Can I just interject here, just randomly? I love how in our fantasy league, no one has touched him. And that's
Good boys,
amazing.
good eggs. Good eggs. Oh my god.
Oh. Anyway, our last skater pick is Winnipeg, correct?
Saku Menelainen. And this is, I think, the definition of a non-star in the sense that outside of Winnipeg, nobody knows who this guy is.
I don't know who that
I almost
is.
feel bad putting him on.
I don't know. Yeah.
Technically, his story is a good story because he was drafted by Nashville, I want to say 2013 or something. It was a while ago, and he only ever played one season, a handful of games, and he wasn't heard of again for a few seasons. And then all of a sudden this year, he makes it on the roster for the Winnipeg Jets out of nowhere. So honestly, it's just the fact that he's in the NHL and he's on a team is round of applause for him. It's just when you're looking at a team with the Winnipeg Jets who have been surprisingly solid this year, he stands out as the worst, quote unquote. But I don't even want to really harp on this guy.
He's only been in the NHL for 2 seasons, so
He's an NHL
yeah, and
baby.
those 2 seasons had gaps between them.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for him. Sorry, I feel bad for putting you on here, Saku. I apologize.
And he's listening for sure.
He's definitely
your apology.
And our last goaltender seemed also like a kind of an easy pick for the Central, Peter Mrazek.
Still mad
So
he's on our team.
bad.
He was.
So bad for him.
Yeah, he's been thrown to the wolves.
He's such a cutie, sweetie patootie. So I feel bad.
What was that one game where he had a 200 save percentage?
200 save percentage?
Right? I forget what it was. Maybe it was against Seattle or something. He basically, I think he let in 4 goals on 5 shots, and then they pulled him.
And that wasn't, you mean this season?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There was a game.
He's worse even after us. And I thought his worst season was going to be with us, to be honest. So.
Oh no, I mean you can always go worse with Chicago.
Next year will be the Coyotes.
Oh, God. Yikes, Krispies. All right.
Yep.
Last division, Pacific?
Pacific. Yeah.
So
Okay, the
Anaheim
Ducks.
Ducks. Lots of interesting choices, but I think the one guy that probably ends up getting selected here a little bit because of reputation and his situation, but still because of his poor play is John Klingberg. And it's kind of funny, right? Because if everybody remembers during the offseason, he seemed to be waiting out for a sort of large multi-year extension, a high-value payout. Nobody signed him. And then all of a sudden he has to take a 1-year deal with the Anaheim Ducks. And, you just figure, okay, he'll play well in Anaheim, boost up his profile and then just get traded away at the deadline, which he probably still gets traded at the deadline. But his performance in Anaheim has definitely lowered his stock.
Maybe it's a mental thing because he's like, what the hell? No one wanted me. I'm literally a good player. He's good. I don't know why no one went
he's
with
also
him,
on a
but
worse
okay.
team, so that no matter what impacts his output.
For
Obviously.
sure, but that's, people are sleeping on this guy. And although he makes our non-star list, to me, he's an all-star. So
Coming
He was
out of
an
this,
all-star though, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he's another guy who has been an all-star at some point.
has he been? I'm not sure actually. I think it would depend on the year and the circumstances.
maybe
right? 'Cause, no matter what,
2018.
Yeah, I can't remember what year it was, but
I don't remember. I couldn't say for sure.
But he's good. So
He
that sucks for
was.
him. Well, I mean, 1 season, give me a break. You know what I mean?
He definitely lost money on a future contract. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god.
Calgary Flames. We settled on.
I was right, by
Milan
the
Lucic.
way. 2018. I just gotta say
Ah,
that.
nice. There we go. Milan Lucic for the Calgary Flames.
Lucic.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
What? He just doesn't do anything.
he's a battering ram.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's it.
he
Yeah.
looks like he looks like he could kick my ass to the moon.
He's had better years. Let's
But-
put it that way.
Probably shouldn't say anything mean about it because he might find out where I live.
Oh no. Shoot. That's right. He
And I know
probably
some of
Copy
these
that.
guys are like meant to fight, and like you expect high penalty minute totals, but like there's certain points where like it just kind of negatively impacts the team over time, right?
Yeah. And unfortunately, he has been slowly declining. So it's just the way it's happening, you know?
Edmonton Oilers. We almost settled
Connor
on
McDavid.
Yes, of course. But we almost settled on Jesse Puljujärvi having a rough year at forward. But we still had to lean Cody Ceci because this almost
Yeah.
feels similar to what we were talking about earlier with Jack Johnson and stuff. He's
But we like
everybody's favorite
CC.
punching bag of a defenseman that, you know, whatever team he's on, people always complain he's their worst defenseman, but he always sticks around. He's always apparently in the top 6.
Okay,
So-
I don't want to talk about him because he pissed me off so much when he was a Leaf. So there you go.
Well, there you
I'm
go.
so happy you didn't put down Barry
No.
Oh no! Why would I put down Barry?
because
Yeah,
you
there's
don't
no
like
reason.
Barry.
Yes, we do.
What? No, we have no disdain for Barry.
I love
Good.
Tyson Berry. He was just bad
I
with
will-
us, but I'm not gonna hold that against him.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
and
one of my
technically he was bad with the
favorite.
Leafs under
No, we're
Babcock,
fans.
and he got better under
Not his fault.
Keefe. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't worry.
Moving
we're
on to the
team, we're
San Jose
team.
Sharks. There
Sharks.
definitely was a selection of guys to pick, and
Oh,
looking at the
dear.
numbers,
The whole
we
team.
could have landed on someone like Oscar Lindblom, but that just felt really mean.
Yeah, that
And,
would
No,
be really
I'm
mean.
not-
You
I
can't.
say no to
No.
that.
We
No,
are not
I'm
the
on-
Philadelphia Flyers. Well, we will not be mean to Oscar Lindblom. So
No, that's our
He
our
is-
guy.
He's a guy, man. He's
He's our
Absolutely.
baby.
sweet noodle.
So
Love him.
we did land on Steven Lorenz at forward. He's just a bottom sixer at this point. It's not very surprising. So like he just unfortunately suffers the curse of having to be in the bottom 6 of a bad team at the bottom of the league. But
Yay.
I think more notably is on defense, Marc-Edouard Vlasic, which, you know, I think Sharks fans have known this for years now. He is not really good anymore. He's not worth the money he's being paid, and he's probably going to be stuck there for the rest of his career. For the Seattle Kraken, since they're having an actually really good season and the team is pretty balanced, there's not really anybody that stands out too much. So we did settle on Jamie Alexiak. And I think it's really just a matter of, because he's a defenseman more at the forefront, he will take, I think, the biggest portion of bad numbers, right? Like he'll be on the ice for a lot of the time, so you're still going to get a lot of probably some bad goal differentials and stuff. But like even then, he's not even really that bad. It's just kind of like a matter of like sometimes you have defensemen with bad numbers just because they have so much ice time that inevitably it's going to affect them, right? But
Yeah.
you know,
And let's just
Again.
move on with the Canucks. It's all of them.
yeah,
It's
the Canucks
all
is
of
the
them,
whole roster.
apart from Quinn Hughes.
Quinn Hughes.
Quinn Hughes is
Love that guy.
okay.
We
He is a
even
star.
put in the GM, the president, the
All
coach
of
are all
them.
in there. Yeah.
Yo,
Ownership.
even Horvat. He's not there anymore. He's there.
He's there.
So, all jokes aside, we did pick for forward Curtis Lazar. It sucks too because like I feel like it was a decent enough choice to include him in the off season, but it has not been working out at all.
I don't
And
even know
then-
how you pick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, to be fair, it was hard to decide, and
That-
we'll talk about it later. But I do have a list of dishonorable mentions for something. And then for defense, Tyler Myers. I mean, I think all Canucks fans would put Tyler Myers up there.
My piece. So let's move on.
Vegas Golden Knights too. Again, another scenario of like they're doing well enough that you're like, who do you really pick on? There's nobody that really stands out. So in the end, we picked Alex Martinez because he's having a subpar year. Nothing against the guy, because honestly, he's still a pretty solid defenseman. And even though he's definitely on the wrong side of 30 at this point, he is still like a solid guy. Just, you know, subpar this year. So the real interesting part here and the hardest decision, honestly, to make, and that kind of maybe affects our choices here, was the Pacific Division. The goaltending specifically, because picking 2 goaltenders for this team was almost impossible. There are way too many choices. So I almost feel like we need an dishonorable mention list of goaltenders in the Pacific Division for our non-star team. So Jacob Markstrom having a rough year. Feel bad for him, but it is what it is. But
Jack
he doesn't make the
Campbell.
list because we have worse picks. Jack Campbell is a weird one. His actual goaltending statistics, like save percentage and goals against, not good. He's having a rough year and it's really disappointing. But technically, his win record is above 500, and so like that kind of I guess keeps him out of contention. For San Jose, they have a tandem that has played both close to the same amount of games, and they've both had a rough time, and that's James Reimer and Kaapo Kähkönen. I feel really bad for those 2 guys. We could have picked on Philip Grubauer, but I don't think he's played enough games this year to really have a proper representation. But considering how bad his year went last year, and it's going bad again here, it wouldn't be too surprising if he made his way up there by the end of the year. For the
Enough
Canucks,
said.
the Canucks really wanted to put in Spencer Martin and Thatcher Demko because yikes, having rough years. Demko did not play enough, I think, maybe to qualify for our consideration, but the numbers
No.
there are bad. And to be fair, Spencer Martin is winning enough games despite being in a really bad situation. So I that kept him off the
Oh,
list, I think.
Yeah.
But the guys who got the pick in the end were John Gibson for the Anaheim Ducks and Jonathan
Jonathan
Quick.
Slow.
Yeah.
Because you've
But
heard
the
that one
Kings are up
before.
and coming, okay?
Yeah,
Oh,
and they've
come
been
on, they
doing it
are.
with Phoenix Copley, their third
Yeah.
goaltender.
How old is Jonathan Quick now? Like 70?
No, but close.
Yeah.
In hockey years.
Oh,
No,
God,
in
yeah.
hockey years, yeah. It works just like
70.
dog years, right?
Yeah, it does.
That was really mean. He's probably the same age as us. No, he's not. He's 37.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's a
The
good man
goaltending
right there.
situation in LA is so bad. They had to throw Cal Peterson in the minors, and he's supposed to be the replacement for Quick when Quick was going to retire, which, again,
I think we should just have a whole episode dedicated on goalies. I'm
Oh.
down for it. So just letting you
Quick
guys know.
struggles, sad to see. But then Phoenix Copley all of a sudden is like, I'm good enough.
I'm good enough.
Yep. And it's been working for them. And
That's fair.
John Gibson, again, it feels like at this point, like we kept talking for years about how John Gibson is a really strong goaltender, but over the years he's just been behind this really bad team to the point now where like every season is a bad season for John Gibson. And at what point will he perform better on a different team if ever it comes to that, or maybe this team
Listen.
ruins him?
He was too good that they didn't pick Freddie as their starter back in the day. So that's all I gotta say.
It'd be interesting
Ah.
to see how he is on a different team, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be so fun. I'd be like, ow. I feel like retirement's coming though, like more
What?
than another team.
No, he's still got
He's-
plenty of years.
Oh,
in him.
sorry, John Gibson. Never mind.
I was going to say, he's only 28.
I
Oh,
thought
sorry,
we
you
were
were
talking
talking
about
about Quick.
Jonathan Quick. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh.
sorry.
Jeez. I was like,
No.
what? Does that mean I can
Oh.
retire?
No, that's definitely no. John
Uh-huh.
Gibson, he can stay and get a different team. Sure, that sounds fun.
No. Oh, dear. So, is that our teams?
Yep, those
That's
are
our
our teams.
teams. That's our
I'd
Yeah.
love to
Well-
hear in the comments whether if you guys want to comment on our Twitter or in the comments here for the video on YouTube, which team out of these 4 teams do you think would be the ultimate non-star team? So I guess the
Ooh.
loser of this tournament, if we were doing
Yeah.
our non-star tournament,
I'll put out a poll.
I like
who's
that.
really the worst team out of this?
Who is really the worst?
Yep.
I mean,
there
thank
are-
you.
There are no wrong answers.
Of course, we do
It's
want to hear
true.
people's opinions on who they think maybe should be there, shouldn't be there, people you disagreed with or completely agree with. You know, everybody will have an opinion about this. I feel like it's almost harder to pick who's the worst than who's the best.
Definitely. Especially because it's not like the NHL is the best of the best anyway. So
Mhm.
you're asking to have the worst of the best, and it's all season dependent. Like
It's
that's
absolutely true.
hard.
It's
Exactly.
difficult. It is. It really is.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to focus on the worst of the guys who still regularly play.
That's the thing. I feel like the top players consistently stay at the top, and the people on the bottom often switch. So
Yeah, like that's why it's
Yeah.
easier, I think, to pick from teams like the Coyotes and the Blackhawks because they're intentionally keeping a mediocre to bad roster, and they're just keeping them in the lineup because they just want to keep losing.
thank you so much for listening. Is what I'm trying to say. It was a long podcast, but if you're still here, you're a real one. Please like, comment, subscribe, share if you can. Follow us on Twitter at This Hockey Pod, or find us individually at It's Just _Molly and at Chanel LV. And we hope to see you for our next episode, which is a real fun one, but we're going to keep that one under wraps for now and surprise you later.
Woohoo. I'm so excited.
We have a little
Valentine's
surprise
Day
planned
special.
Yep.
Yeah. Tune in. Bye.
Bye.